Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to Word First Radio, the podcast brought to you by Word First Ministries. I am your host, Jacob O'Neill, and as always, I'm joined by my friends Cameron and Bailey.
Yep.
Bailey, pray us in, man.
Of course. God Almighty, we just love you, and we thank you for your provision, and we thank you for the snow outside, and just pray that you would be with us in this conversation. Help us to look to you, and Lord, we love you, we appreciate you, and dedicate this time to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Something that's fun for me to think about is, because we haven't changed the outro video yet, if you haven't visited us, it seems like it's been snowing this whole time.
That's just how that's how they roll.
Yeah. And so,
I hate admitting that to people because we get lots of sympathy for it being really cold.
Yeah.
And even, we all of our, when we share what the temperature is, it's in Celsius, so it seems a lot colder. You see all these negative numbers. Mm-hmm. And so it's nice to feed off of all of that sympathy.
That's right.
And we do.
It's -7. Well, it was at least an hour ago. Yeah.
7 below today.
Yeah, 7 below zero.
That's cold. I mean, it really is cold, but it doesn't snow all the time. We're in Oslo. It's pretty mild.
Right. We had a pretty beautiful summer. Yeah. It was sunny and beautiful, and it's only been snowing really for a week. We got the first snow of the year a week ago.
It snowed a very little bit, not even enough that's really stuck around
that's
overnight.
True. But right now it's snowing, so no, it has not been a winter hellscape for a year. I promise.
Winnie is still waiting for it to get to be like barbecue and swimming party weather.
Really?
So I don't know why. She knows she should have hoped for that, but she's like, I'm waiting for it to be warm enough to have a barbecue.
That'll be in about 6 months.
I loved the summer. It was
it was gorgeous.
It got to it was like in the 70s all summer long. And a little bit humid, but just blue skies and beautiful. But so when you think, should I tell them what the weather is like here?
Yeah,
when
go ahead.
When you think of Oslo,
put envy into their hearts.
No, think Big Bear, not Anchorage. You know what I mean?
No, but go ahead.
Have you been to Big? So, everyone who's watching knows exactly what I just meant.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'll take your word. I'll take your word for it.
We're not freezing like Alaska. It's not a snowy wasteland here in Oslo. Yeah. It gets nice and cold in the wintertime, and it's pretty mild and temperate throughout the year. So
the summer can get hot too. At least for me, I never thought I didn't think it could get this warm, because we visited California in June, me and Marissa, and that was warm. Veldig warm. Yeah, it was really warm and really hot. And coming back here to Norway, it's still the sun can beat a little bit.
It's humid here, and the days are super long, so the sun will be out and proud.
It never goes away.
4:30 a.m. until midnight.
Yeah,
it's out. So. Yeah, it can feel warm. It's definitely not as warm as Southern California, but it feels that way sometimes.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
This is us being Norwegian, by the way. This is talking about the weather. It's kind of the only small talk that's allowed.
Yeah, that's true. Trying to get ready to jump into the content. So, so I guess enough about reminiscing about 6 months ago. And let's give her 4 months ago. Mm-hmm. I guess let's talk about, what have we been up to the last couple of months? So Skeptics Week is over. November has kind of happened, and we're entering December. What are some of the things going on in our lives? We talked a little bit about 2 episodes ago, you and bringing a child into the world. How's that been going? Is that still working out?
Me watching a child out into the world.
Is that still working out? No, I don't know. I think I'm going to give it back.
It's good. He's a lot more alert and active, has I don't know, he tracks with stuff and is starting to goo and gaw. So it's fun. The church has gotten to see tons of him, so
that's right.
Everyone loves him. He got to be the example of what Jesus looked like as a baby, because he's brown.
He's brown.
So yeah, Shepherd's great, and we're doing good. It's funny, since it's been getting colder, our ministry stuff that we've been up to looks different because of that.
Yeah.
So practically with the coffee cart. You can't use a coffee machine.
Yeah. The coffee machine doesn't warm up. Yeah.
And we tried with waffles and not our full on coffee machine that is
we're just
super
making
fancy.
hand brewed pour over coffee, not espressos.
But it doesn't work in this cold weather. Like it's survivable, but not for machines.
But just barely though. Last time we took it out, it was very cold. It was like 2 weeks ago.
It was awful.
It was, yeah. We take it out. We try to, when conditions are perfect, take it out every week, like on Fridays. But the last time we did was like 2 weeks ago. It was before it got cold, before it snowed. Ideally,
to that point, it was like the coldest day. The sun was. Let's get back into the weather, boys. We had like a month where we didn't see the sun. Like the sky would be lit. It wasn't like nighttime all the time, although the nights are really long. But we didn't see the sun for a while. And this is one of those days where it was like, this place where we go in Grönland is kind of shady anyways.
And it's like a wind tunnel.
Yeah, and it's a wind tunnel.
Where we stand.
Yeah, there's like this corridor of all of these shops and the street right beside. So it is this wind tunnel. So it was cold. It was cold and windy. I think it was the coldest day to that point.
Right. I like this weather theme that we got going on.
We'll just do that every time.
Okay, sorry for bringing up the weather again. But I brought it up to say that our ministry stuff has changed because of it. So we've been naturally out less with the coffee cart because there aren't even people to really hand that much coffee to. So we end up just feeding ourselves mostly is what happened. Not really. But our ministry stuff has been different. So we've been focusing a lot more on we were talking about this and realizing that like the stuff that we're up to is mainly Christian conversations. So it's kind of like even weird to talk about it here. Because we wouldn't call you and ask like, hey, how's your discipleship group going with your boys? Like, you know,
Well, I think one of the benefits of it getting colder is what regular evangelism looks like has just naturally had to become more relational and like consistent. So now I can't rely on setting up the waffle stand, having pour over coffees and waffles at like Skeptics Week and having, that to attract the skeptics and then, talking to strangers on the streets and hoping to meet with them later in the future. Now it's just kind of like I have to plan ahead. I have to have like actual meetings times set up. We have to meet like in someone's house or at a coffee shop so we get all kushli.
Isn't that perfect this time of year too? Like every restaurant and every cafe is
blazingly warm. Yeah.
Right.
Boiling lava hot.
Right.
And the lights are dim and warm and they put out every cafe has like blankets.
Yes.
And they put like animal skins on all of the chairs.
That's perfect. So it's
really wonderful.
That just, exemplifies a Norwegian word kushli, which is just kind of like a warm coziness is what is like the best translation I can think of for it. It's not just being cozy, but it's like a warm coziness. Like we're cozy right now, but this isn't kushli. We would need some animal skins and some candles, and then there you go. And then a fire, maybe.
And something that's just like really nice and wonderful and sweet and warm and cozy.
Warm, sweet coziness. There you go.
That's
like that.
Kushli.
So anyways, that's where I love this the weather and then the kushli stuff. But that's where most of the evangelism has had to happen. It's had to be in more intimate spaces, more comfortable spaces where it's just kind of one-on-one talking, like really getting to know the person. That's how most of like the discipleship relationships I've been having, because I do have some people that I've been meeting with and I've been discipling. That's one of the things I'm focusing on for our studies at HLT, actually. Me and Bailey are both doing internships for our degrees. And so just doing that has been really awesome for me. Like these are some of the most deeper, conversations we've had have been in these circles. We've had people like they gain, I've been able to build a lot of trust with them, and especially building, trust with like Norwegians. It takes time to build relationships. That's just really just with anybody in general. Yeah. But there was specific cultural advice we were given about that to be like really just try and get to know the person relationally. Like they don't want to feel like they're your project or you're just trying to get them to think the way you do. Yeah. Really try and get to know them, figure out what's important to them, and then just talk about that. Talk about your interests, the things they like, and that's been awesome. I've been able to experience that just in a more regular way than I have before. It's not completely foreign to me, but a more regular way than I have before. And, it's been really awesome doing evangelism that way. So I love it. So thank God for the for the hail and the snow.
Like street evangelism season is not now.
No, it's awesome.
We can find ways, of course, to evangelize.
That's why
in the streets, but it's cold out. People have places to go. The ground is slippery. The coffee cart, which is excellent, it just doesn't really do its job right
The
now.
sun is gone.
The sun is gone. It's so gone, guys.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of these summer days. I feel energized in the summer days where it's like,
Right.
it's, oh my gosh, it's 10 or 11 o'clock and I'm still awake. Like, and the sun is still out. And then it never fully goes down. Like the sky never turns black. It's always kind of like midnight blue, you know? And I feel energized during that time of year. But this time of year, it's like the sunrise is close to 9 o'clock. Like it's nighttime dark outside till almost 9. And the sun, like yesterday, it was dark again before 4 p.m. And the days are just going to be getting longer for a couple of more weeks. That's hard. It's tough when you have a family because the kids are home by 3:30 or so after school and the sun's down. And it feels like your day's over. It's like, okay, well, I guess it's just about dinner time and bath time and bedtime. But it's just like halfway past lunch, you know?
Yeah, I felt that way 2 days ago. There was a Christmas party we were invited to with Shell Hannah. It was really fun, by the way. You should have came. But I remember it was at 7 o'clock. But by the time 7 o'clock had happened, the sun was already down for
And had been
maybe 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, I don't know. I got back from meeting with somebody at the library. We were hanging out and studying for school. And I got home at like 3 p.m. and the sun was like setting and was down in like 20 more minutes. And it just felt so late. I was like paranoid. Like, did I miss the party time? Like, did I just read the time wrong? But nope, it's 7 o'clock. And that's what it feels like. It really feels like, okay, it's time to dress down and get into your jammies and cook dinner and
it's a
get
weird
ready
time
for
of year
bed.
for ministry too. So like our church continues to meet. But this is also a time of year when people go away and go and do stuff. So we have busyness. I say busyness. That's a negative connotation. I don't mean we have things to do.
Yeah.
There's stuff to do. There's work to be done and service to be done in the context of like our church. But all at once, it's like there are lots of things to do because it's the Christmas season. But also, people are gone, and so there's like less. I don't know. There's less like mass of motion around.
Yeah. So just a couple of those things that happened, especially last month. We had, first, we were invited to participate in worship for the Baptist General Conference of all of Norway. Me and Cam were able to go to that. Bailey had just introduced Shepherd to living and breathing, so
Still
they did not come.
introducing
That's right. I really enjoyed that experience. It was fun meeting. It's just a general conference for all of the Baptists around Norway to come together. We were asked to lead worship by the General Secretary of the Baptist Union, and that was really, it was such an honor, so humbling to actually be there, to see the Baptists and just hear about the work that is being done. Really great Norwegian practice for all the different dialects.
Oh my goodness
and,
gracious!
Yeah,
it was delegates from like every Norwegian Baptist church, every Baptist church in Norway. I think there were some like 300 people there, and for the big annual General Assembly, that was a big meeting. And when you learn Norwegian, you have to learn like 100 languages,
right?
And we got to hear a lot of them.
It's true.
And it's nice to keep you humble because you start feeling like, okay, I'm starting to understand. And then someone from one town over comes and talks, you're like, I got nothing.
Right. It's kind of, this is fun. I don't know if I've told you guys this. I don't think I've mentioned it before on the podcast, but so my uncle, Uncle Michael, I love you, man. He speaks fluent German. He lived in Germany for 2 years. He has a bachelor's degree in the language. He speaks fluent German. He's really good at it. When I was about 7 or 8 or something like that, he was trying to explain to me the concept of dialects. And I could not conceive at the time of like how the same language could sound completely different, or like people from just the one town over couldn't understand you if you lived in like Berlin or whatever. And so I just kind of made fun of him for that. I was like, what? German is German. Like I understand people from Texas. Like what? But we do not have dialects in the U.S. And God, it has just kind of been like, yeah, remember that thing you said when you were 7? This is the punishment for, giving your uncle a hard time. And understanding some Norwegian dialects for us especially, close to impossible right now. It's so hard.
Well, and some of it is just simple, basic words that they say slightly differently. So, and there are a lot of dialects that instead of saying like the question words, va, what, them, etc. Instead of saying them they're spelled with an HV, but instead of saying va, they say ka or kem, which is okay. I know that. But when you're listening to a sentence and then chem happens, and you go, which is who? Right? Is that right? Yeah. And then chem happens, and you go, and your whole mind just goes, nope. And it gets nothing after it. And then by the time it goes, that was vem. That's the same word. You go, okay, I got it. But you've missed the next 30 words.
Yeah. It's difficult to understand. One of that just kind of really illustrates it for me. I can understand it when they say it, but it took some time, is the difference between yai and egg.
Egg. Yeah. Some people say egg and some say yai.
Yeah, it's the same word. It just means I. It's just when you're talking about yourself. But those pronunciations are nothing like each other.
Right.
Yai and
it's
egg.
not like you and y'all.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. That's a good.
It's like they have for you is data, but also in some dialects say daka.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready for that, and you're not. I'll talk to Lisa. I'm never ready for it, and then it happens.
Yeah.
And my mind is like, there's no buffer to execute that command before, right? And so I stop processing, and then I have to pick back up a few words later and hope that the ones I missed were not relevant to the sentence because they're gone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what's fun is that this isn't not just the Americans who are learning Norwegian talking about this. This was like regular topic of conversation at the general conference for like Norwegians as we were talking to. They're like, man, that guy from Stavanger, like his dialect was like so hard to understand.
Wow.
Or like the Bergen dialect. And so they mentioned it too. And so this is not just.
And then, we're a bit of a novelty. Like, are you guys able to understand all of this? I'm like, I mean,
some of it.
Getting it. No.
Yeah. That's been fun. So as far as language learning goes, I guess we've transitioned into that. So what was fun for me, a really good milestone, was I watched a Norwegian movie, all in Norwegian, not with English subtitles, but with Norwegian subtitles. And I understood basically like everything.
Yeah,
like I was able to understand the story. There was like emotional beats that like I was able to pick up on, and like jokes that I understood. I was watching that with a friend of mine, Bendik, who's one of the Norwegian men I've been meeting with regularly. And I was like, hey, can you help me with help me with language learning? And he's like, I know just the movie for you. And in Norwegian, in English, it's called The Wave. And it's just a fun, cheesy disaster movie. It's by the same guy who made that Trolls movie. If you see it on Netflix, Trolls.
I know.
You haven't seen it? Oh yeah, it's a pretty big like new Norwegian film.
Oh, maybe I have seen like billboards for it.
Yeah, a troll attacking like Oslo and stuff, and my dad watched it yesterday.
I'll watch it with the girls tonight.
Wonderful. It's
I thought you were talking about Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, what? So it's the same. I'm like,
you're looking at two dads.
Is that in Norwegian? I don't know. But no, that's not what I'm talking about at all. Justin Timberlake Trolls. Okay, yeah, but so that's been fun. How are we doing with language learning? Because I was able to watch a whole movie in Norwegian, so take that, guys. But yeah.
All right.
We're going. So we got Papa Cam gifted the team. Not really. Word first, you guys gifted the team with a new online language learning course, which I think, like, I talked with Cam about it a lot, just especially for Grace and I. Like, there is no way that we can get me and Grace, and even just Grace alone, in a classroom to continue learning academically our Norwegian. So, we haven't dived too much into it yet, but it's A0 through B2, so we can review on stuff we've already done if we need to go and do that, and we can push forward all the way to. Did you guys take B2 or okay? Yeah. So we can push forward to where Cam is at.
Yeah. I don't think our languages, for sure, Whitney and I, we are not at B2 level. We're working on it. We are both in B1. So we've talked about that before a little bit. But anyways, it's just the level of language for comprehension and composition. We're definitely solidly B1, pressing on to B2, and we've talked about it being hard, but it's hard to know how to learn a new language.
Right.
And it's hard to do it in a place where everyone is eager to speak English with you. They all speak English and they're all happy to do it. And so you have to be really, really deliberate. There's an advantage to being like airdropped into a place where you can't communicate, and in 6 months you'll be fine. But we don't have that advantage here. We do have the advantage of knowing what the things are in the grocery store and being able to ask people for help, and it's really, really wonderful. So I don't mean that to sound like a complaint, but one of the advantages of having nobody speaking the same language as you can learn it real fast.
Right.
So we're working on it. And it's hard to know. Getting back in a classroom, well, sometimes it's not always super effective. Whitney and I even found that the language school we've been going to is really excellent. But if you have a handful of students who are more advanced than you are, you don't just catch up with them. They're just communicating on a different level than you are. And it doesn't, you're not brought along by their advanced abilities. It doesn't bring you along. It just leaves you in the dust. So yeah, we completed a B2 course. We're not at a B2 level. We'll be testing on that in March. We'll be taking the B2 test. And if we pass that, then everything is great. If we don't pass it, we'll just take it again when we've learned more. But it's so we've got language tutors and language partners, and try to speak as much Norwegian as you can. And they're not a very chatty people, so it's not going to happen at the bus stop. Really, they all got their headphones on. You're not going to just strike up a conversation. If you do, it's about the weather, and maybe that's a good amount of language to know, because that's the only small talk they make here. But yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah, we're working. I think it's been really fun to learn like another spoken language, because really the only other one I've been able to use is like sign language and English, of course. But it's been fun. Like I have a couple friends that like only speak like moved here from like Arabia or like the Middle East, and only speak like Arabic or Norwegian. So I have a friend. His name is Hadi. He can't speak English, not really. Right. So the only way I can talk to him is in Norwegian. And I think one time we had like the coffee bike out or something like that, and he was just there, and we just struck up a conversation. It was our first conversation. It was like half an hour, man. And so my brain is like running like 1,000 miles an hour, like trying to keep up the conversation, and it was fun. Those are the conversations that are the most memorable, of course, because it's processing the sentence over and over again, and like I'm really, really trying to concentrate. So it's not, it's definitely not automatic yet. Some things are automatic, but I'm pretty happy with my progress, at least so far. It's definitely, the weird thing is that sometimes it's easier on other days, so sometimes it's like, I feel like I just get it. Yeah. And I'm just like, my brain's just turned on Norwegian, and it's like, oh yeah, I can just explain this thing or tell you this thing in Norwegian. And like, I did that at Skeptics Week a couple of times when the stand was closing down and people were like confused. And I was like, all in Norwegian, right?
That's what Norwegian sounds like, by the way.
That's what you said.
Someday you guys will be able to understand that sentence.
Yeah. It's my dialect. It's my dialect. So what I'm saying is like sometimes it's like it's weird, it's bizarre for me, but it's like sometimes it's easier than others, and I just understand it better, or I can speak it together. It just comes to me. And then other days it's just kind of like "Vad sa du?" Like what did you say? Like I didn't understand that, or I can't think of the word. But that's been going, and that's one of our. If you haven't heard us say it in like 35 episodes or whatever, like that's one of our highest priorities right now, is learning the language and just trying to understand Norwegian, have gospel conversations in Norwegian, even if it's something simple as like, why are you guys out here with the coffee cart? Just to tell them we're here because we love people, we love Jesus, and we want you to know how much Jesus loves you. Yeah. Even if you could just share that in Norwegian, like I think that just shows like we're practicing, we're trying to communicate spiritual truths in Norwegian, and it's just another milestone, another step like that. Yeah,
we're getting there.
Yep. We had Thanksgiving with our church family.
Yeah, that was really nice.
I kind of really loved that, to be honest. Yeah. And this was our second Thanksgiving away from family. Well, kind of. Mama Grace came and visited us, which was really cool. Yeah. But that was really cool, getting the church together and doing Thanksgiving and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. So we had a Thanksgiving as kind of our own group, which was really nice. And then we had Thanksgiving with our church, which, of course, Thanksgiving is an American holiday. But Norwegians are more and more, like there are more Americans here and are doing it more and more. Like you can find turkeys in the store now about that time of year. And so it's just nice to have the church. And we put on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. We put that on the projector and watched that while we ate mostly sort of American traditional Thanksgiving food with our whole congregation. It was really nice.
Yeah, they like killed it in a good way. Like they really nailed it. And because Thanksgiving is like, especially if you haven't been out of the American bubble, it's just like, why doesn't anyone else understand Thanksgiving? This is the greatest holiday ever. It is.
What are you celebrating?
Football, turkey.
Yeah. What are you celebrating? We're not sure. Some people a long time ago didn't die, and they're thankful for that. So how do you celebrate that? Oh, man. Football and turkey.
Wait till you see the turkey. But they killed it. The turkey was awesome. They had mac and cheese. I was like, I used to love eating mac and cheese on Thanksgiving, and now I loved it again. Yeah. And so that was like, they really got the flavors and the vibe, just the vibe of like Thanksgiving dinner.
Just the vibe, man. They got that Thanksgiving vibe.
I hate you guys.
That TGV.
Who knew?
Who knew Norwegians could vibe? It was Norwegians and Ukrainians, Americans, and we was vibing.
Thanksgiving vibes whole way through.
I hate you guys. We're not friends anymore.
But no, I think it was awesome and like really special. Zach like talked about it a few times with me, like talking about how they did that at Connect previously. And it was just a really good way to get people around a table and to have a meal to serve people with. Especially in like the cold season, when that's what people want to do is be in a warm environment where they're being fed. So to like do that, we had a few people. I met one lady. I didn't know her from Sprout Cafe. That the language learning practicing class
language cafe.
that home church runs. So I didn't meet her there, but she came from an invite from someone from our church who did meet her there. And she's not a member of our church, but she came to enjoy Thanksgiving, which is, it's a thing that people are learning more and more about. But it's definitely not like a normal thing that Norwegians celebrate in their own homes. So
Right.
It was beautiful. Like imagine your entire church family gathering for Thanksgiving, like for that thing that we do with our families, but your whole church family, and then also
and friends,
and so it was beautiful. It was really cool just seeing, like, I'm used to seeing the kids run around in my grandma and grandpa's house for Thanksgiving every year, but to see Celia and like to see all the different kids running around and all the different spiritual uncles like running around and catching, like, that's sweet.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, it's been a really, really eventful couple months. So something, if you've been a very keen and regular viewer, that you might realize, I don't know if these guys realize it, but I realized it, and I've been waiting for it for 365 days. But today is actually the 1-year anniversary of us starting Word First Radio.
Wow.
Yay! We've been doing this for a year, and it's pretty amazing. It's kind of like when you have a kid and you're like, he's going to graduate from college one day, and it's not as important as that, but it's pretty.
So it's not really.
Let's listen some more to the one guy at the table who doesn't have any kids.
That's right.
How it's like for you.
You know how you do.
So I have to. I cling to this. This is all I got. It's kind of never mind. Okay, so this is the 1-year anniversary of Word First Radio. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, we started this on a whim a year ago. Like, just say, like, wouldn't it be fun? Well, Cam's been saying.
What are you guys doing tomorrow?
Yeah,
let's start a podcast.
Cam has been talking about for like maybe 2 or 3 years, like not as long as I've known him, but for a while since I've known him. Like, wouldn't it be fun if we started a podcast? And here we are having a podcast that we have started. We've come a long way from the humble beginnings.
Jacob describes every big thing we've done together like that. He's like, and then Cam came home and he's like, hey, what do you think about moving to Norway? And then one time Cam was like, hey,
where's the lie?
The whole world
what do you think about
Where's the lie? That's how a lot of our conversations go. Where was my train of thought? Okay, we've come along. It's been a year, but we've come a long way from our humble beginnings of recording our first couple episodes in Cam's house.
Yeah, now we've walked all the way down the street.
Yeah,
we have walked 5 minutes from my house. We're recording in Misjonskirke here in Bjølsen again, which is awesome. We've talked. We've had Pastor Eidek on the podcast, and they're
episode 15.
They're so kind and wonderful to us. And on times when we have a pinch or like the place where we normally record isn't available or whatever, we call Eidek, and he has never once given us any. Like, he's just always gone, yeah, of course, as long as we're not using the building that time, yes, which. I think that's been kind of our experience with the Christians here. It's like, like, yes, we do everything for the gospel. So, yeah, it's been amazing.
Right. So the reason I bring that up is because I want to talk directly to you guys. So rule number 1 is don't look into the camera, but I'm going to be looking into the camera a lot for these next couple minutes. So the reason why we started Word First Radio is because what we really wanted to do was we wanted a way for the people who sent us, whether that be from the church that sent us, other churches and other Christians we know who care about us and love us, our family members, anyone who has sent us here. We wanted to keep them up to date on the things we've been doing, the people we've been talking to, whether they be believers or unbelievers. And we wanted you guys to be updated on what we're doing and the issues that are important to a Norwegian context. And so we've been, and I will speak just as someone who hosts this thing, the people involved in making this podcast happen for you guys, people like Cameron, people like Bailey, people like Alan, who is not on camera, people like...
But he is on the camera. What?
Yes. What? Okay. These people have been working their tails off to make this thing happen for you guys, to keep you guys updated. And I know that anyone who sent us, if you were here, you'd be super proud of what the team has been doing to make this thing happen and to make ministry in Norway happen. So all of that being said, I want to emphasize that this is for you guys. So what we would really like to know, as we're wrapping up the year and going into 2023, we've been in ministry here in Norway for almost about a year and a half. We're going to round up to that. About a year and a half. We want to know what you guys want to know. I think this is the first time we've ever asked directly to you guys, what do you want us to talk about? Who do you want to meet? What are the kinds of things that you want to see us be doing and talking about here on the podcast? Most of the time, I've kind of just had to guess, or maybe just hear things from like my mom or hear. And
it's an educated guess.
An educated guess. It's not like we've been shooting blind. Obviously, you don't get 40 episodes worth and a year long of a podcast just throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks. So it's been an educated guess, absolutely. But we want to know specifically from you guys. So whoever is watching, right? Bonnie, I know you're watching. Larry, I know you're watching. And I know you have my email. So whoever is watching, mom, mother-in-law, that's right, if you're watching, we want you to send us some information. Send us an email. Comment right now below the things you want to see, the people you want to hear from. We haven't yet had Motown or Grace or Whitney on the podcast. You probably want to hear from them too. You probably want to hear what they have to say. So here, bring them on. Tell us the things you want us to talk about. And that's kind of like my call to you guys. What do you guys have to say about that? Yeah,
I appreciate that a lot. I mean, so the idea always has been, we have people supporting us financially, in prayer, in encouragement and support, and all of these ways. And we've always considered them part of the team, part of the mission. They're co-missionaries with us. And we've said since the beginning, since we were fundraising, since God first called us, that it takes a lot of missionaries to get, just a few hands and feet into Oslo to do that part of the work. And we've always taken that seriously, that you, the people who are supporting us, like you are a part of our team. You are necessary and really, really appreciated, and I've said it too many times. We take that seriously. So this is an opportunity now where we've been here for some amount of time. We're like, we don't know what it is that you guys would like to know all the time, so that you feel like you are a part of the team. That's the reason we do the podcast, is so that people who are a part of the team can feel like they're here and that they're a part of what's going on, and kept not just up to date, but involved in the work that we're doing to the best of our ability. So, what is it that maybe you're missing, or you would like to know, or who, just like Jacob said, who you'd want to hear from, or information that is unclear, or what you'd want to know about? Because we, of course, we can get together a couple of times a month and talk about what's been going on, and that's fine. We're super happy to do that. But sometimes I think we sit together and wonder, okay, so what should the next episode be about? And we're like, wasn't it going to get boring that we say, well, the baby is still alive. And,
well, we can talk about the weather for 10 minutes.
Talk about the weather for 10 minutes. Is it cold? Yeah, probably. And but it's not as cold as you'd think. Like we could keep doing that, and that's fine if that's what you guys would like to hear.
Sure.
But also, I think we have, as we sort of approach the end of the year, we'd like to ask you, our supporters, and our Norwegian friends who are listening, who support us in various ways, help us to know what would be the most valuable things for you guys to see and hear. Like what can we bring to you? Because like Jacob said, it's an educated guess, but we now, we're getting used to it. We're getting used to it. We don't know what still is new for you guys, or what's still interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I really like something you said at the end there, was also emphasizing our Norwegian listeners as well. And so that's another thing we've been aware of as we've been, making all of these episodes and producing this podcast, is that we know the Norwegians we meet out here, whether they be Christians or not Christians, would possibly be listening in and be interested in what we want to talk about, the things that are important to us and our observations from living in Norwegian culture. So if you're a Norwegian who's been listening and you want to come on the podcast, or if you want to talk, or what are the ththings you want to hear from us? What are the things that you think we should be talking about, the things you want our opinions on, or just reflect on, or see we had Seaman on one time, and he asked at the very end of an episode, which was a wonderful question. I was like, we got to talk about that. He asked us, what's your evangelistic strategy? And I'm like, okay, well, just keep watching the podcast and we'll talk about that. So anyways, I'm sure there may be thoughts that we need to hear from you, or that you may be wondering what we think about or what's important to us or something like that. So send us those suggestions. Seriously, comment right now below as you're listening to my voice. Put a comment below. You can find our emails at our website. Send us an email. Find us on Facebook. Shoot us a message on our Facebook profile. Do all those things, because we want to hear from you guys, our Norwegian listeners, and the people who sent us. We want to know what you guys want to hear from us. So now that I'm done emphasizing that, anything you wanted to say?
No, I would just say more of the same.
Yeah.
This podcast is for you guys. Like it's not, doesn't serve any purpose in our lives. Like, even though we've talked about starting a podcast like since 2 or 3 years ago, it's not like we're finally living some big dream. Like,
look at this audience we built. We'll be influencers soon.
Yeah. So this is for, absolutely for you who sent us and you who have joined us as we've been here. And at this point, we've been here for over a year. So as far as ministry goes, we've fallen into the rhythms that we needed to gain a footing in. So we've got our rhythms and routines, and a lot of the updates that we give can just be the same things over and over again, or sound really similar. So help us to get clarity from you. What can we communicate better? What information are you lacking? What things are we not covering that you are itching to hear in the podcast?
Or just what is interesting? What do you want to hear more of, less of?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, very, very cool. Awesome. And so I'm going to talk to the camera again. So the thing you can do, besides just letting us know and reaching out to us, like the things you want to hear, that's a very practical thing you can do to help us out. There are 2 other really practical things that we would love to request some help with. So if you could look down at this video and see the share button, I'm pretty sure from this perspective it's right there. That's a risk. I just took it. That direction-ish.
Fix it in post. We get there.
That's right. We'll mirror that image for that moment. Just mirror the image of the whole thing. So please share this on your Facebook. Share this on YouTube. Send this to people you know. Share our stuff on Instagram. Get the word out there that, hey, there are American missionaries in Norway who need support. We need to get the word out about the mission in Norway, about the gospel work that's been happening out here and the gospel work that we've joined out here and joined. So please share this video. Larry, share this video. Mom, share this video. Bailey's mom, share this video for sure. Do it right now as I'm speaking to you right now. So sharing this video really helps get the word out about Word First as a ministry, about what the gospel work that has been happening in Norway and the work that we've been joining and what God has been doing here among the people in Norway. And that deserves to be shared around. That word deserves to get out. Another thing it really helps us out with is some administrative needs that we need, and I need to lean on you because you know more about the need than I do, and so I'm going to lean on your expertise.
Kick it to Cam.
Sure.
So I can share the administrative part because that's kind of one of the things that I do in the ministry. But we need financial support, significant financial support. We need to add something like $50,000 to our income in the next few months. And the main reason is because Norway requires, before you apply for a residence permit, that you prove you have a year's worth of income in the bank. And they have a number that it's about $15,000 a person. But you have to prove that the year before you live here. And as students, you guys have to reapply for residence permits every year. So you have to have next year's money in the bank in order to do that. So nobody's starving yet, but if we don't have all those extra funds for next year before you apply for your residence permits again, you can't stay. Right? We won't have the money in the bank for you to be able to do that. And of course, right now we're on a shoestring budget. So I'm going to back up real quick and just say, so my family, me and Whitney and the girls, we're employees of the IMB. So I try to be a little bit careful talking about money stuff because we receive no money from Word First. However, we're highly involved in Word First. So we're contributors too. We're contributors to Word First, and we receive no money from Word First. We are graciously taken care of by the IMB, and they take good care of us, and we are doing very, very well. As far as fundraising for Word First Ministries is concerned, Word First is a nonprofit corporation. We're a 501c3. We give giving statements by the end of January every year. So just like you'd be giving to a church or any other charity, in the same way your charitable contributions are tax deductible, we'll give you the relevant paperwork to file with your taxes. And what I was saying a second ago is we're on a really strict, you guys are on a really tight budget. So those of us who are supporting the ministry, we can be really proud of how you guys are, I was going to say spending money, not spending money. I mean, all of your expenses are basically fixed, and there's nothing extra, which also means there's nothing extra for ministry. So there are lots of things we'd love to be able to do, like host groups and make coffee and have meals and maybe rent a facility to host a group or purchase equipment. And we have no opportunity to do that at all, which we just haven't had since we're here. God is good. He's not going to let ministry go undone, but we have lots of ideas that we just can't, frankly, afford. But secondly, there's a sort of drop-dead administrative task, which is keeping you in the country for another year that requires a significant financial contribution right now. So, and this is the time of the year to do it. It's the end of the year. Most charitable organizations they receive something like half of their donations in the last couple of months of the year. And so this is just our opportunity to ask our supporters to, you're already supporting us, and we appreciate that. So we're not asking you to dig deeper. Give as you are able and as you are as the Lord instructs. But also just help us to get this in front of eyeballs, because we know that God will provide for us. And every time He does it, it's amazing and it's miraculous, and it reminds us that He's in this and that He's with us. But we also just need your help. So I think I'll leave that there. So the ask was for further financial support. We have a significant need that's coming in just the next few months that we need to meet. Otherwise, our ability to stay is in jeopardy. But secondly, I just had to say this sort of administrative thing about, Word First is a nonprofit. My family receives nothing from the ministry. And again, that you guys, the Bailey and Grace and the baby have a new place, but the rest of you are living in dormitories and student housing and really are making really. It's the thing we promised to do when we were doing fundraising in the first place, when we hosted all of those dinners, which was we want to be as efficient with our spending as possible, so that we can stay in country as long as possible. And it's been we'll round up to a year and a half. You guys have been doing excellent work as far as that's concerned. So I'll leave that there, because every missionary we always have our hands out because we need someone to finance the work of ministry that we're doing here. And that's what the church has always done. The church sends missionaries, and God's church has sent us here, and we're so grateful for the opportunity.
Yep. Amen. Yeah. So anyone who's watching, we are so thankful for you. We're thankful for those of you who've reached out to us. We're thankful for those of you who've been praying for us in our prayer group, who have called us late at night, just in random text messages saying, I was thinking about you today, and so I prayed about you. I hope everything is okay. And just the constant love and support, both financially and spiritually, has just been... you don't know how far it goes, honestly. You might have some idea, but it goes a lot further than you might think. And so this is just a way for us to just communicate just directly to you how you can help us financially, absolutely. sharing this video, subscribing to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram, those kinds of things, seeing what we're up to and sharing that stuff around and getting the word out.
So that we can be influencers.
No.
And that we can make our own lipstick brand, which is Word First Lipstick, coming 2024.
Come on.
And maybe. Is that going to be $1,000 too?
That's what I heard. One of the Kardashian kids is worth like $1 billion because she has her own kind of makeup.
Yeah.
I didn't even know she was a chemist.
Yeah. Self-made billionaire.
Sorry, did I derail a serious moment?
Yeah, but that's all right. That's our brand, you know?
Well, I was making a stupid joke. We have no
it's
desire
funny.
to be influencers.
Right,
What Jacob
exactly.
is asking is
No desire to be influencers.
Please help to get our content in front of people so that we can so that we can have more support in the work that God is doing here. We need financial support, which we've talked about, but the spiritual support and the prayers. We have a goal of having 1,000 people in our prayer community. And
Right.
we're about a third of the way there, which is amazing. But to be effective in the work here requires a huge mountain of Christian soldiers, and we'd like people to know about us. We'd love to receive short-term missions groups, right? Who'd like to come for a trip and do the work here and see what's going on, and for people to contribute to the mission that we get to be a part of in Norway. So,
Yeah, couldn't have said it any better myself. So
I wouldn't. You could have, but I didn't let you. I kept getting stupid.
that's okay.
It happens.
So God bless you. We love you, and we cannot wait to hear from you.
When are they going to hear from us?
They're going to hear from us next year. Woo! So that's the thing. Word First Radio is canceled for the rest of the year. We'll see you again in January. God bless. Thank you for watching this episode of Word First Radio. If you like the podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to learn more about Word First and how you can support the ministry spiritually and financially, check out the links in the description below. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Word First Radio, and we'll see you again next week. God bless.